Good afternoon and welcome into Great Day Washington. I'm Ellen Bryan. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday as it is another scorching hot day. Oh my goodness. So coming up in 7 minutes, we have some relief. We're going to head over to the Great Day Kitchen to cool down with some ice cream sandwiches from Malai. And then at 3:13, we hear about an upcoming event to help federal workers who lost their jobs be able to maintain health insurance. But first, we are going to focus on mastering the art of persuasion, because persuasion is in everything we do. It's from work to your family to your friends. You will always find yourself trying to get your point across. So here to inform us on how we can actually become masters at this craft, we have Kendrick Shope, who is the author of Authentic Selling, Be Real to Seal the Deal. I love it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we do it with our family and friends. We're just persuading people all the time.
All the time, yeah. People never realize that they are selling, but if you are getting your way, you're selling somebody.
Somehow you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it start with our body language in the approach, or how important is our body language to
persuasion? Some studies show that about 93% of selling can be communicated through body language. Now, that's the initial part of selling. That's the opening up.
Yeah.
So this is stuff that people know. Your arms crossed, what does that convey? You know, standoff, so sitting up tall, power poses, all the things that, straighten that back. And it really is just more about being open. Selling gets a bad rap about being sort of icky, sleazy, slimy, gross, and so communicating that you're open.
Okay. Then does it matter what you say is next, the word choice?
Of course it does.
It's important.
Yeah,
absolutely.
To follow it up.
What should we be doing?
There's a fine line that you walk. It's sort of like walking a tightrope in high heel shoes backwards.
That's easy.
That sounds easy, right? So you want to come across again as open and willing to hear the other person's point of view, but also as an expert. So some of the things to do when you're talking about being an expert are avoid things like I think or I just whatever. It is I know. I believe, or from my point of view. So you're not saying the other person's wrong necessarily, but you also don't have hesitation about what is true for you.
Oh, I see. I feel like that softens the blow. Like, well, I think you might think something different.
Yeah.
So that's not being very persuasive and confident.
It's not. If you're trying to get your idea across, so you want people to know that you are confident in your idea or what you're selling. It is the truth. And so think does soften it. That's the point.
Yes.
We don't need it to be softened.
Okay, so let's say we eliminate all of those things from our vocabulary. Now, can we be too pushy? Can it come across as, I know everything, listen to me, I'm the expert?
Absolutely. Who hasn't had a rotten sales experience, right? I mean, like you want to shower after you leave that place. It's like gag.
Yeah.
So I just use the word gag on air. It's 1980, circa 1980. But yeah, of course we can. So, you know, some of the things that we can do are just being fake. I mean, that sounds so easy. Like, don't be fake. Yeah. But don't pretend to connect with somebody if you don't. There are people you don't connect with. Yeah. Don't act like you watch football if you don't watch football.
Right.
You know?
They'll find out real soon.
That's right. That's right. And we're learning so much more about energy and about the exchange of ideas through authenticity. Yes. And so people can spot a fake a mile away. Yeah. So just don't do it. Why would you do that?
After
just
hundreds of interviews, I can confirm that the energy is instant, and you can tell in an interview or when you're talking to somebody.
Exactly.
What they really mean behind what they're saying. Okay, so confidence is important, but how do you come off not sounding too confident? It's rubbing someone the wrong way.
So hence why I said it's like walking a tightrope in high heel shoes backwards, right? But the things are pretty simple. That's the good news. So again, language is important. You never want to tell somebody you're wrong. So let's say that you're selling something that costs money. So you can sell kids on going to bed on time. You can sell, you know, your husband that your shoes are worth $15,000, whatever. I'm just kidding. I don't own $15,000 shoes, but you get the point. Yeah. So let's say you're selling something that costs money and the person says, I can't afford it, right? Yeah. There are lots of icky, sleazy, slimy sales tactics that say, well, how much is it worth to you? In other words, we use guilt, right? Yeah. If it really mattered to you, you would whatever. And you can actually use something called tactical empathy, which is used by the FBI hostage negotiations team. Okay. And you say, thanks for sharing that with me, I understand. Which feels better. right? If you say I can't afford it,
more that they're a person.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that with me. I understand that you feel you can't afford it. Let's find a solution.
I know you have so many more tips for us. I can tell. We don't want to wrap this up, but I have to. So good thing you have a book. Thank you for writing this.
Thank you.
You can get more of the information we're talking about and more by grabbing Kendrick's book. It's called Authentic Selling. Be Real to Seal the Deal. It is available wherever books are sold. And then up next,